Welcome back. We're on to the final segment now of the human bridge. Let's dive in. So here we have a side quest, the geometry of history. My essay, The Alchemical Imperative, and the manuscript of the incomplete map are two halves of the same coin. It is the logical conclusion of my human bridge philosophy. The essay provides the theoretical architecture, the skeleton, while the novel provides the lived experience, the flesh, in regard to what I call the geometry of history. In my essay, The Alchemical Imperative, I explore the leaden age of modern materialism and the necessity of a golden return to consciousness. This isn't just abstract philosophy, it is the hidden architecture of the incomplete map. The octahedron encountered by the characters is a physical manifestation of this imperative. The core hook is a manifesto for the reenactment of the world through the lens of sacred geometry. What you'll learn why the standard worldview is failing and how alchemy provides a map for the postmodern soul. The aha moment, the realization that the great work is the bridge between the quantitative and the qualitative. How you'll feel intellectually grounded and ready to see the clues hidden within the novel. Introduction: Beyond Simple Succession. The conventional narrative of organizational leadership focuses on succession, the orderly transfer of authority from one leader to another. Yet this linear view obscures a far more profound pattern that shapes the evolution of human institutions across domains. From the theocratic revolution in Iran to the corporate transformation of Apple, from the engineering culture of Boeing to the moral awakening of the civil rights movement, we observe not mere succession, but a recurring dialectical cycle that drives historical change through creative destruction. This cycle transcends the simple transition from charismatic founder to a pragmatic consolidator. Instead, it reveals a fundamental rhythm of human enterprise. Revolutionary disruption crystallizes into institutional synthesis, which gradually calcifies into bureaucratic rigidity, ultimately creating the conditions for a new revolutionary emergence. This pattern is neither linear progression nor circular repetition, but a spiral of dialectical evolution where each revolution incorporates and transcends the limitations of its predecessor. Thesis: the succession archetype represents not merely a leadership transition, but a fundamental dialectical cycle of creative destruction that drives historical change across domains. When bureaucratized synthesis calcifies into rigid systems, it creates the conditions for revolutionary disruption, perpetuating an eternal cycle of thesis, antithesis, synthesis that manifests across political, corporate, and social institutions. This dialectical cycle operates through 6 distinct phases: the revolutionary thesis that disrupts existing paradigms, the pragmatic antithesis that institutionalizes change, the organizational synthesis that balances innovation with stability, the bureaucratic thesis that calcifies into rigid systems, the disruptive antithesis that challenges ossified structures, and finally the revolutionary synthesis that emerges to begin the cycle anew. Each phase contains within itself the seeds of its successor, creating what Nietzsche might recognize as an eternal return, not of identical events, but of structural patterns that govern how human institutions evolve, adapt, and ultimately transform. The cases examined in the essay: Iran's transition from Khomeini's revolutionary charisma to Khamenei's institutional pragmatism, Apple's evolution from Jobs' disruptive vision to Cook's operational excellence, Boeing's shift from engineering-driven innovation to finance-first bureaucracy, and the civil rights movement's progression from King's moral revolution to Abernathy's organizational consolidation, illustrate not isolated instances of leadership change, but manifestations of a deeper pattern that reveals the fundamental dynamics of institutional evolution. By recognizing this cycle in its totality, we gain not merely analytical insight, but perhaps a measure of wisdom. The understanding that no synthesis is final, no institution permanent, and no revolution complete. The wheel turns, and the dance of creative destruction continues, shaping the trajectory of human civilization through the eternal interplay of vision and structure, innovation and stability, revolution and consolidation. The geometry of history maps to the octahedron. In the essay, I describe a 6-phase dialectical cycle. Number 1, Prometheus, the revolutionary thesis. You can see that here on the left side of the octahedron. Number 2, Architect, pragmatic antithesis. That is kind of coming at us here in the midplane of the octahedron. Number 3, the Alchemist, the organizational synthesis. That's over on the midplane on the right. Number 4, the Pharaoh, the bureaucratic thesis. That's at the nadir, the bottom of the octahedron. The Trickster, the disruptive antithesis. That's hidden in the back on the midplane. And finally, the Phoenix, the revolutionary synthesis at the apex of the octahedron. This cycle maps beautifully to an octahedron with its 6 vertices. In the incomplete map, Cale is navigating these exact archetypal forces in his fictional world across 900 years of classical antiquity, from Socrates of Athens to Hypatia of Alexandria. In The Invisible Reef, generations of a Singaporean power family play out the geometry of history without being aware of their roles until a benevolent AI trained on wisdom rather than data makes them aware of the archetypal forces that continue to drive their destiny. By the way, The Invisible Reef is one of my 3 standalone novels. It's a multi-generational story. In the real world of the present moment, what archetypes are you playing out right now at work? Identify your archetype by actually reading the essay. Are you a Prometheus stealing fire, an architect building forms to contain that fire, an alchemist balancing on the knife edge, a pharaoh building a monument to the past, a trickster breaking shit apart, or a phoenix burning away all the dross to disrupt the entire playing field? Read the linked non-fiction essay from the archives, or read the aforementioned books, or the full Calean Chronicle trilogy to inhabit and consciously navigate this cycle through the lens of story. So here at the bottom of the page, I have this very unusual section that is meant to kind of capture your attention and have you puzzle it out for a minute. Let me just read it to you. Wait, did you just scan this? You see how I'm able to read that? It's not spelled correctly. Everything is mixed up. If you just, what is this? If you just scrolled to the bottom to find the point, you experienced what researchers call the screen inferiority effect. Science shows that scanning a screen is a shallow cognitive process. Your brain is looking for landmarks, not meaning. Do you see how my brain is able to translate this scramble? You just have to try it a couple of times and it will magically come to you. It's amazing. To actually comprehend and retain this information, you have to fight the digital urge to rush. True understanding requires a slow reading mindset where you engage with every word and pause to think. If you only scanned, you've seen the map, but you haven't taken the journey. So, what's amazing about this is that our brains can do this very quickly. I'm able to almost read it in real time. It's a little bit jerky, but I'm able to definitely parse it. Whereas AI can't do this. This is like computationally exponentially expensive for AI to figure out. And I've even provided a little calculator down here or encryption method for you. And you can edit the text up here in the top area if you want. If you want to change what this says, you're welcome to do that. And then click the green button and it scrambles it. And the way that it scrambles it is it always leaves the first and the last letters in the correct position. But all of the letters in between are scrambled. And for some reason, our brains can easily parse this. And it's kind of a cool thing. But what I wanted to do was capture someone's attention who is just scanning and they get to the bottom and they expect to see a summary. What they find is this scramble. And hopefully this gets people to actually read this essay, or at least watch the video like you're doing right now. At the very bottom of the page, we have another banner, a quiet act of rebellion, engage in a critical, sacred anachronism. The algorithm is a machine designed to harvest attention. A book is a garden that cultivates the soul. Stop surrendering your focus to the machine and reclaim your capacities to sit for hours with one simple focused task: reading in a comfortable chair. When you read a whole book, you aren't a data point being monetized by an algorithm. You are a being investing in your own mental sovereignty, by will and grace. Wrestle with the hard ideas to decide what you think. Reclaim the territory of your mind. And then here we have choose your main quest here. And I have 3 novels to pick from. Here in this list, we have The Incomplete Map, The Path of Pathos, The Kalian Chronicle, The Path of Mythos, and The Invisible Reef, The Path of Logos. So I'll let you check that out yourself, and hopefully you enjoyed this talk. Come to the bottom of the Academy Legend, and that brings us full circle back into our Academy Legend.